Hey guys, what's up? It's Breezes15. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for the people who watched my first video. I really appreciate all the love and support on that video. There will definitely be more giveaways in the videos to come. Some will be bigger, some will be smaller. Just stay tuned because there will be more giveaways. Today on my channel, I have a special guest and it is Viv, aka Viviana Ruby on Instagram. I will be tagging her in the video so that you guys can go ahead and follow her. Today we are going to be doing a beach wave tutorial. If you are interested in learning how to create these beach waves, then stay tuned and keep watching the video. I've been doing her hair for like almost 2 years. I've been in a longer relationship with her than I've ever been in any relationship. I toned her hair this morning. We blow dried it and that's pretty much it. So this is what her hair looks like. For Viv's blow dry prep, all I did was put the In Common Magic Mist. I mentioned it in my last video in my must-have products for 2022. I only used In Common before I started blow drying, so her hair was towel dried and I sprayed it all over pretty generously, and then I brushed it through with my favorite brush that you should use. I like it because the bristles are nice and flexible. It will cause the least amount of breakage when you are brushing your hair because it doesn't pull your hair at all. It's really gentle. So just comb that product all the way through all her hair, and then we started blow drying just with my Dyson. The brush that I used to kind of flip out her front pieces right here, because Viv does have layers, was this Olivia Garden. I think this is like 1.5 inches just for the front. If you use anything smaller, it would give her more of that like flip out effect, but I kind of wanted to keep it kind of casual since we are gonna go ahead and beach wave it anyway. The reason why I only use Magic Mist on her for her blow dry prep is because Viv's hair is pretty healthy and it's also pretty straight and it doesn't have too much frizz. So if you put too much product in it, it's gonna weigh her hair down, and we don't want that. We want to use all this nice lovely volume that she has to our advantage so that her curls can last longer. Especially she only washes her hair like maybe at most twice a week, so if she decides to go the whole week with this hairstyle, it'll last the entire week, and that's really the only reason why I use In Common. If she had frizzier hair, I would definitely add something a little bit more heavy to help with the frizz control, or if she had like finer, more flat hair, I would definitely put some texture cream throughout the top. She has beautiful, perfect hair, so she only needs to put one thing in there. Another really important thing about being able to achieve this look is your haircut. If you have just all one length hair and it's really long and it's really heavy, or even if it's like my length and it's just one length, it's just gonna be harder for you to achieve the texture of a beach wave, like that lived in casual curl, because it's just gonna want to lay really flat and heavy. Viv's haircut, I would describe it as like a modern shag for like longer hair, because she does have really heavy layers in the front. It pretty much frames her face. It grew out now, but when we first did it, right above her cheekbone, and then now I would say it kind of is like a little, like pretty much at cheekbone length. And then throughout the back of her hair, she does have layers as well. That's definitely gonna help us and set us up for that perfect beach wave. If you don't have layers in your haircut, it isn't impossible to create the look, but it will make it easier if you do have layers in your haircut. For this look for today that we're gonna be creating, I'm gonna use my Babyliss Pro 1.25 inch curling iron. I like this one because it lasts forever and it gets really hot really fast. A lot of the professionals that I know have this curling iron and pretty much all agree that this is one of the best curling irons in just, I don't know, the market of curling iron. I like the Babyliss brand, an amazing brand. I love their tools, it lasts forever. The reason why I'm gonna use a 1.25 inch curling iron is because I want it to last. I'm gonna show you guys different examples of like different curls and the different looks that they could achieve. For example, if I was to use 1.5 inch iron on Viv, it would be more of like a blowout effect. It won't be so beachy, and I wanna get that nice texture in, so I wanna use a smaller iron, and I'm gonna show you guys what that one looks like. So this is my favorite 1.5 inch curling iron. This is the Paul Mitchell brand. The Paul Mitchell brand, I like these a lot because they last forever. I just got this one like sometime last year, but the one that I had before this, it literally lasted me since beauty school. They last forever, and it finally gave out on me, but not even because it wasn't getting hot no more, but because the clamp was so old, it would literally get stuck. I don't want to use this one on her because it would create more of that like Victoria's Secret runway blowout look, and that's not the look that we're going for. This is also the Paul Mitchell one. This is an inch barrel, and I would use this one on myself just because my hair is shorter. For today, like the style that I have, I did use the big iron because I just wanted to look like I already had my hair curled for a couple days. I don't necessarily want to have that like fresh beach look. Kind of wanted it to look like how her hair is gonna look in like 3 days. So the bigger the iron, the looser the curl. A lot of people use wands, but for this look, I would suggest using one with the clamp. You could also do it with the wand, but I feel like it's just harder to wrap around the curling iron. And I'm gonna show you why it's important the way you wrap the curling iron around the barrel, basically. I'm gonna do the way that you need to do it first. You're just gonna get her section. I'm wrapping the curl around as if it was a ribbon, and I'm making sure that her hair is laying flat against the barrel. So you don't want to take a section that's too wide, because you won't be able to get the hair to lay as flat as possible to the barrel. Since her hair is long, I have to let this heat up first, and then I'm releasing the top part and kind of moving my way down the hair. But as I'm moving my way down the hair, the strand is coming up on the barrel. So I'm unwrapping and wrapping at the same time. So what I'm doing is I'm just spinning the iron lower and lower until we reach the end. I don't really like to curl the ends too much, so what I do is I kind of just like slide it through like that so that it has that bend, because I want to have that kind of loose effect. If I curl it all the way down, this is what it would look like. So it's more curly, it like shrinks up a little bit more, but I want to maintain the length. So let's just pretend that you curled it all the way through and you don't like the way it looks and it shrunk too much. All you would have to do is open your clamp and pull your hair down straight, and then just kind of slide it through. You have to add more heat when you have more hair, especially if you have frizzy hair. You need way more heat, but I wouldn't recommend that you set your heat settings higher than 350. So this is kind of the style of curl that we're going for. I'm going to show you guys what it looks like if you don't wrap the hair flat to the barrel. I'm going to take the same size section. If you were doing your own hair, you would be going like this and wrapping it down, curling away from your face. So when you're curling away from your face, you want to turn this opposite, so not towards your face. You want to turn your wrist away from you. So the way that I'm going to wrap it right now, this is like the type of curls that you would do if you want to achieve like Hollywood waves. Basically the way people normally curl with like a wand, and then now I'm letting it go. So now you can see the different type of curl that we just created. So this is more Hollywood wave curl. This is a beach wave curl. And so right now it doesn't look that beachy because I'm just letting it sit. To achieve the beach wave effect, you have to run your fingers through it. Even though it still looks okay, you could tell the difference because this hair is laying a lot more flat, a lot more casually than this one. This one already wants to like spring back up into the Hollywood wave effect. This one is a lot more loose, a lot more casual, and it maintains most of her length. This one makes her hair shrink up a little bit. The importance of holding your barrel at a vertical like this, just straight up and down, will create a different look than if you come in horizontally. When you come in horizontally that way, you could still create a beach wave, but it's gonna give you more volume at the root. You would start horizontally like this, and then what you do is you then unwrap it and then start coming down at a vertical as well. So if you're a person who has really flat hair, you would first have to like go in horizontally and then start to straighten out your barrel as you move your way down, and then that creates like a more voluminous beach wave. Viv just has natural volume, so it's gonna look voluminous in either way. But if your hair is flat, that is definitely something you can do to give you some lift at the root. Now I'm gonna show you guys what it looks like when you turn your barrel the wrong way and how it creates a crease in your hair if you spin it the wrong way. Let's say I clamped her hair now. I'm gonna mess it up on one side. When you do it the wrong way, it's very difficult. Like you can tell you're messing it up because it doesn't even want to slide through easily. Like it's just getting all tangled up. You can see that I spin the barrel against the clamp because you can see a crease in her hair right here, right here, right here. It's not a nice cohesive natural look, it's more forced. What's gonna happen is at the very end, when I spin it the wrong way, it's gonna look like a crease. It just doesn't look as smooth. It doesn't look terrible, but that's how you can tell that you did it, that you spin your barrel the wrong way. If you do this, this is how you fix it. You're gonna heat up the hair and go through it really slowly first to kind of flatten it out a little bit. Go really slow. So that should be good enough. Let it cool down just a tiny bit, because if you keep going over the same curl over and over and over and over, it's just gonna make it harder for you because the hair is way too warm and it doesn't want to hold the shape anymore. Kind of just like pretend you messed it up at home, work on the rest of the head, and then come back to that piece and then you can fix it again. So now it's cooled down enough, and then you would just go ahead and just recurl it all over again. So you know that you're ready to release the curl when you touch it and then it's warm, and then you can move your way down the hair strand. And then there's your beach wave. This is the different examples of different curls and the different looks that they would give you. Now we're just gonna get into the whole tutorial. I don't normally take sections for the beach waves because it is more of like a casual, natural look. I feel like if you wanted a more glam, symmetrical look, then you can go ahead and take sections. I'm not a section taker where I like cleanly part the hair into like 4 sections. I don't ever do that. I kind of just like to look at the way my client's hair naturally lays and sits. Even with myself, I just go with wherever it falls and I start picking up random pieces and kind of just do that, because mainly the placement matters, not necessarily around here as long as it's curled. The important part of the curl placement is all in the front. So right here she has a callet, which means that that's where her hair naturally wants to split. So I'm gonna take a big vertical section right here. I always start at the top, and the top section is always gonna be like the smallest section because you want to make sure that you have the most detail around the top part of the head, which would be above the parietal ridge. Your parietal ridge is where the curve of the side of your head starts. So mine is here. Everything from here and to the back, that is called your crown. Everything in the crown, you want to take smaller sections because that's where you're going to put in the most detail. So I'm running my barrel through just to warm up her hair, and then now I'm just going to start wrapping it flat against the barrel. There's no specific way I'm turning it, just not against the clamp, because it will create that crease. If you create a crease, it's not hard to get out, but just make sure that you're turning your iron the right way so that you don't have to do that. So I'm just making my way down the barrel and I'm wrapping as I'm unwrapping, and now I'm at the end and we're just gonna leave it like that. So don't run your fingers through it, just leave it how it is and let it cool down. So I'll just toss it to the side, and now I'm gonna take a section much larger right underneath, and it doesn't have to be clean. Like that section is not clean at all. It's not a perfectly square section, it's just a random section, and it's much bigger than the top section. And I do that on purpose because I want to maintain her length. The lower you get in your hair, when you push your hair forward, all of this you want it to lay nice and flat and smooth, so that you can maintain your length. And then everything around the top, you could add more detail because it doesn't matter if it shrinks up a little bit, because now that's creating all the volume and texture that you want. Since I curled her hair, I turned my barrel this way. Now I don't want to do the same way because I don't want it to all be one cohesive big curl all the way down. So I'm gonna alternate the way that I turn my curl. So now I'm still not going against the clamp, but I am turning it a different way just to create that texture and that separation. So now obviously you can tell there's a lot more hair, so you gotta make sure you're touching it, make sure it gets nice and hot. And then now I unwrapped it. What I'm doing with the lever is I'm kind of just releasing a little bit to slide the hair through, but I'm not fully releasing because then the hair will just fall right through. So that's why I'm kind of just doing like a gentle little tap just to kind of get the hair to just slide through enough so that I can make my way down the barrel without making the hair fall out. And tension is another thing that's very important. So you guys can see when I'm doing her hair, it's kind of like a pull in a way, but just because I'm trying to make sure that the hair is still laying flat to the barrel. So now you can see the different size of curls that we have going on. So this is a much more detailed curl. This is still a beach wave. It's just a lot more loose because, like I said, I want to maintain as much length as I can. I just curled the opposite way. So now I'm going to go back to the original way that I did the top section. And I'm just sliding through. In this one section, I created 3 subsections. Now I'm just going to let that sit, and then now I'm going to move on to the rest of the head. If I was Viv and I was doing my own hair at home, to get this part of my head, I would just literally hold it straight up and then come at it from right here at the top and then just start spinning it up here at the top. It's okay if you have extra volume right here in the crown, because who doesn't want extra volume in the crown? One thing that I love about beach wave, the curls don't have to be exactly the same. They don't have to be uniform. It just kind of have to be kind of loose, and once you brush it all through at the end, it'll all come together really nicely. I feel like the more inconsistent the curl looks, the more natural and casual it looks. So you can see this curl, I spin the barrel this way, and then you can see this curl is spinning inward. This one would be away from her face technically. This one would be inward toward her face. That's just to create texture, because what's gonna happen is when I run my fingers through, it won't all bunch up into one big curl, because it literally cannot. There's no way. It's not being turned the same way, so it won't be able to stick together. The problem with a lot of people who are trying to create beach waves at home is they don't ever alternate their curls, so everything kind of just all bunches up together. Even if you don't pay attention to the bottom so much, you should definitely pay attention to alternating just the curls around the top. You have to really just pay attention to the density of your hair. This hair is very dense, very full, because of the way I cut her haircut. The front is technically a little bit further back just because of the way it lays. So when I'm talking about the front, I'm technically not necessarily just talking about like here where you can see, but how does the hair lay? So all of this right here that we didn't curl, this is the shape that you need to be worried about. Everything through the back is just gonna lay pretty. Her front section is a little bit behind her ear. It's very dense up here, but then as you start to go to the bottom, it starts to get more thin because of the layers that she has around her face. I want to start her wave right here, like around her cheekbone slash eye area, because that's like where her layers start. Everything on top of here is a much wider section, so we're gonna start at the underneath. And the sectioning doesn't really matter, like when you do it on yourself, just make sure that this piece right here is its own section. Even though we're gonna highlight her cheekbone, all this hair is gonna lay over this, so now we're gonna worry about the underneath hair and how it's gonna frame her face here. I want her curl to frame her here at the chin a little bit, so that when she wears it forward or back, it gives you like that extra contour and shading of your own hair, and it's gonna push back on her eyes because we want to accentuate her eyes. This is how you make your curls intentional. When you look at yourself in the mirror and just pretend like I got a double chin when I look down and stuff, and I get real insecure about it, what I do is I curl this little section right here. I curl it inward because I want to create that shadow so that you don't see that. Or if you have like a really long neck and you're like insecure about that, then you would curl your hair inward. If you have a really short neck and you're trying to accentuate or elongate your neck, then you would curl away. Or if you have like a really small face and you don't want your hair to overpower your face, then you would curl away. If you have a longer face, kind of like me, then I would curl in to kind of shorten my face. We're just gonna curl it in just so that you guys can see the effect that it has when you curl it underneath in. So I'm sliding it down and then I'm curling inward. Still doing the same technique, but I'm just being more intentional about the way that I'm alternating her curls. I know for a fact that I want this to curl in here. This is still part of the same section. You're gonna curl this one in as well. I just separated it because that would have been way too much hair to put at once. Because this is higher up, you're gonna start the curl a little bit lower. I'm just gonna smooth that out there. I'm gonna bring it down lower. So this is gonna be all one section, one curl. I'm gonna let her layers fall out. This is her front section here. This is the top section. And this is the next section that we're working on. And now we're going to the section above. Because I curled inward, I don't want to curl inward again, just to create that separation in her style. We're gonna alternate the curl and turn it away from her face. Still curling the same way, same technique. It's very important to look at the way your hair lays. How does it come like together as a shape, right? This piece in the front, look at how it lays when it's straight so that you know where you're placing your curls. So since this is gonna lay here and I just turn this one inward, I'm gonna turn this one outward away from her face. And this is where the sectioning gets kind of tricky because you really just have to look at the way it falls around your face. So I'm gonna clip away this piece because this is just gonna be like the final touch piece right here. And now I'm gonna curl this inward also because I want it to kind of connect with what we have going on underneath. So see how this is starting to really just like contour her bone structure. And now we're gonna highlight her bone structure. I'm gonna separate this into two pieces, but I'm gonna turn them the same way. With these front pieces, if you don't want to look too Shirley Temple, you gotta really pay attention to the way that you're bending your barrel on your hair. I'm gonna use a cold iron with like the smaller iron so I could show you guys how you would wrap it if you wanted it to be more curled. So you would start closer to the scalp and start curling from here and then work your way down. Because I want to highlight her cheekbone, I'm gonna bring it down and slide it down until I hit her cheekbone, and then I'm gonna bend it and literally slide it through. So what's gonna happen is I'm just bringing it straight down and then now curling a little bit more when I hit her cheekbone. I just wanted to show you guys how you would do it the different ways. I'm gonna do it with the hot iron. So I technically don't start curling it until I hit her cheekbone right there. So now you could see the bend doesn't really start until like where her cheekbone starts, corner of her eye cheekbone. Just warmed up her hair. And now we're just gonna bend it all the way down and then curl those little tips a little bit. And that is all. That is literally it. Especially because she has these like shorter pieces in the front. If I get too crazy with the curl, she's not gonna feel comfortable when she's out. It's just gonna wanna spring up in her face. If that's the look that you're going for, then go ahead and do that. But I wouldn't recommend it if you have more like curtain style bangs or just like heavy face frame layers, because it will shrink up and it will bug you. This curl is coming in below cheekbone, jawline, eye, and cheekbone. So that's how you frame the face. Her hair is fully curled, and this is just what her curls look like if I don't brush them through. So if she was just like, Bree, I don't want you to touch it, I want to run my fingers when I get home, I would just spray it and let her walk out like this. And then if she's going out later, she could just run her fingers through it or brush it through, whatever she feels like, to finish off her look. I haven't sprayed anything in it, but I'm gonna spray some hairspray, some texture spray, and maybe do a little bit of oil. Like I mentioned in my previous video, I will be using my favorite hairspray, the Fat Boy moldable lacquer. So this is the stronger hold hairspray, but it's not super strong. It's perfect hold. So if you are at home, all you would do is you could either flip your hair this way like this and spray it everywhere, or you could just place your hair the way that you want and spray it the way you want it to stay. So I'm spraying her hair about a foot away, not too close, because then it's gonna make her hair way too wet and then it'll mess with the shape of her hair. When I spray the front, I'm spraying it and laying her hair back that's around her hairline. That way whatever little flyaways she has around her hairline are getting laid down. Now her hair is all nice and sprayed up. It is a little crunchy, a little hard right now. Let it dry up and nice and crunchy. Hairspray is supposed to be crunchy. Once it's fully cooled down and crunchy, then you can run your fingers through it. If it's still wet and tacky, don't touch it, because the way that your hairspray cools down is the way that your style is gonna stay for however long until you wash your hair. I'm gonna go in with my favorite oil, the Mythic oil from L'Oreal Professional, and I'm gonna do like a little squirtle in my hand. Emulsify that oil nice and evenly. You want to get it in between your fingers as well, because all of this is gonna be going through their hair. You don't just want to put it on your palms of your hand, because the hair is going to go in between here, and you want to make sure that you're getting it everywhere. I'm not going too close to the scalp because I don't want to give her an oily scalp. Just keep it pretty low, and I'm just running my fingers through it like this. I'm just pulling it out to fluff, because if I pull it down, it'll lay it more smooth. If I pull it out, it'll fluff her hair more when it falls down. First I want to fluff, and then I'll lay it down. When I shake it out like this, it's because I want to separate the curls even a little bit more. But now that I like the way that it's separated, now I'm going to start to lay it. So when I want to enforce the curls at the end, I'll just literally just go through and just go on the ends like this. Lastly, I'm gonna spray some texture spray in her hair. She doesn't really need it because she has great texture, but I'm gonna spray it anyways, just so you guys can see the difference that it makes when you do add texture versus when you don't add texture spray. For these little front hairs in the front, I don't want to spray directly on her face. Spray hairspray directly into your fingertips like this. Let it get a little sticky, a little tacky, and then you're just gonna pinch these little hairs so that they lay where you want them to. I always like to reinforce the curls around my face and leave everything else behind just more fluffy. This is the finished, completed look. It's basically just a beach wave. This is how you achieve the look. Thank you for coming back to my YouTube channel and watching my second video. I really appreciate it. I just want to say thank you to my guest, Viv. She is a trainer in the IE area, and if you are looking for someone to just show you some dope workouts, she posts the best workouts all the time. The best booty workouts, leg workouts. I be doing them myself. Go follow her. I'm gonna link her Instagram down below in the video somewhere. If you guys have any recommendations for any other tutorials or video ideas, go ahead and just leave it in the comments down below. I'll see you guys next time.